It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, and I thought it was time that we look at some of the new features and updates that have come out over the past couple of months. We're going to cover some brand new features that were just recently released. Some features that may be a couple months old, but I haven't covered them yet, and something you should really think about before you give away, and especially if you're going to sell your Echo. You might not want to. After all. Before we get into all that, if you want to learn more about the Echoes or pick up one, there are links in the description. Also, there are links to some great videos that will hopefully help you out. Now, this first feature, if you've been in that situation where you find that the Echo is not loud enough because the environment around is noisy, then you have to turn up the Echo, but then later on, you have to turn it back down because then it's too loud. Well, Amazon just recently introduced adaptive volume, and adaptive volume will take into account ambient noise around and adjust Alexa's volume so that you can hear what's being said, and then we'll drop the volume down when there's less noise. Now you have to turn this on for each individual device that you have. The way you do that is, Alexa, turn on adaptive volume.
Sure. Adaptive volume is now on.
Okay.
I can now speak louder when I detect ambient noise.
There you go. Should just let her tell you everything about it. Let's just do a little test here. Alexa, what's the weather today?
It's 82 degrees
That's
Fahrenheit
base
with
level.
clear skies and sun. Today's forecast calls for more of the same, with a high of 84 degrees and a low of 61 degrees.
It's not that loud. Now, I have a little vacuum. We'll make it loud, do a request, and then turn this thing off. Alexa, what's the weather today?
Currently, in Agora Hills it's 82 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. You can expect more of the same today, with a high of 84 degrees and a low of 61 degrees.
So you hear that difference. Now I ask, Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 3:51 p.m.
I don't always know this for all features, but I do know that this one is US only at this point. Next is motion triggers for routines. You can use the cameras on the Echo Shows to trigger routines when motion's detected or not detected. So for example, you walk into the room, you want the lights to come on, you can write that into a routine. If you leave the room and no motion's detected after a certain amount of time, another routine could turn those lights off for you. Now, the negative of going with an Echo Show for motion detection is the cameras don't do great in low light, and there's no infrared emitters to be able to see motion in the dark. They also have a long cooldown period, meaning that it takes 7 minutes between the times of looking for motion. So if it detects motion, it's not until 7 minutes later that it looks to see if motion's still happening or motion has stopped. So if you want something that triggers quicker, you should really look at other options. One of my favorites is the Philips Hue motion sensor that is down below. That sensor is something like 45 seconds between checking. So it's really quick if you want things to trigger faster. Those sensors can be paired to something like the Echo 4th generation that has a Zigbee hub built in. Now to set up a routine, you open the app, you go under More, you press Routines. Let's make one that turns on lights. But when this happens, we'll have a smart home. And then we're gonna look for this Echo Show 8 2nd generation. We'll select that. We'll choose when people are detected, hit next. Now my action can be smart home or any of these other options. And I want to control a group of lights. I want to turn my living room lights on, just power, and turn them on. Now that is done, I can save it. Now this one we've covered before. It's being able to use the camera on the 2nd generation Echo Shows as a security camera. To see the camera, you open up the app, you go under devices, and then go across the top and you'll see cameras. Click on that and there'll be a list of your devices. Here you can see the Office Show 5 2nd gen is not supported. Now if I select this Echo Show 8, we're going to see it connect. And I have it set up so there's a delay. So it won't be clear initially. And then there'll be a chance for someone who's by the Echo to stop it if it wasn't an approved, if they don't want to be seen on there. Starting off blurry, give someone a chance to hit stop to disconnect the camera. You definitely get a clear image that someone is calling. They make it very visible. And then when you hang up, it lets you know that it's been disconnected. So you do want to turn on those settings inside the device under settings and then go into your camera. But easy one to use. The only problem again is the low light on these cameras and potentially the angle may not work well. Now this next one could come in real handy if you have a tough time remembering the triggers for routines. You can now put multiple phrases. So maybe you say, turn on the kitchen lights. And you'll want those to turn on the kitchen lights. Maybe your significant other walks in the room and says, kitchen lights on. You could put that phrase in there. And now you both can say it 2 different ways and get the same result. You can actually add up to 7 different ways of saying something to trigger the same routine. Kind of no excuses after that. Now, if you want to do this, you would go into the app, go to More, Routines, hit plus. We'll just call this test, next, when this happens, and it's going to be voice. So lights on. Add another phrase, kitchen lights on. Add another phrase, turn on kitchen lights. So you can keep adding variations in there until you get to the 7. So should cover a lot of different choices. From there, you would just hit next. You would add the actions to the routine and then save it. Now this next one, for those of you who don't like Siri and you've definitely committed to using Alexa, this can come in handy on your iPad or iPhone. It's being able to add a widget to the home screen. To add the widget, you would hold down on the screen, and I'm going to start another blank screen, hit plus, and now I can go and find the app. Here is Amazon Alexa, add widget, and now it's there so that I can quickly access it. So what's the weather tomorrow?
Tomorrow you'll see mostly sunny weather and can expect a high of 92
give me
degrees
my
Fahrenheit
weather
and a
report.
low of 66 degrees.
Having the widget is great for people who know they don't want to use Siri and want to bring Alexa that you know in your house outside of the house and get to it quickly without having to launch apps. Put the widget where you want it. This next thing is only available in the US. It is beta right now. It is the sound detection. And sound detection will listen for coughing, snoring, baby crying, or dogs barking. And now if any of those things happen, you can have those as triggers for a routine. So maybe you're snoring and then the smart shock collar zaps you so you stop snoring. And my wife would love that. The dog and the baby make a lot of sense to me, especially like the baby. Trigger a routine, then maybe starts playing some gentle music. You know that now you've been alerted that the baby's crying, gives you a little heads up. That makes a lot of sense. Or that dog barking because someone's there and then it sends an alert to you and turns on some lights inside. Just the coughing and snoring that I'm wondering what that's going to be used for. Now let us know in the comments, what kind of routine would you write that would be triggered by coughing or snoring? Now, if you want to make something using sound detection and you are in the US, first open up the app, press More, go to Routines, Plus, and then when this happens, sound detection. It'll specify what the different options are. Detect sounds during a specified time period, baby crying during a time period, dogs barking or coughing. So let's pick dogs barking. These routines are started when your Echo device detects a specific sound, such as baby crying or snoring. You can select which sound your device should detect, on what schedule the sound should be detected, and which action should be started when the sound is detected. We're going to choose our device. For these sound detection routines, you do have to pick a particular device. So like the Show 8, I would select that, hit next. Right now it's set up so between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., let's call those business hours, that if the dog started barking, it would alert me, trigger routine, whatever the steps I put in that routine. Now, you can pick, if you hit change, you could change that schedule, but you could also pick how much time in between triggers. So if you don't want it alerting you because you have a dog that barks frequently, then that's something you can compensate for and how often it it'll check. Again, I see sound detection coming in handy for barking and for babies crying, the snoring and coughing. I am curious how people are going to use that. Now, it would be cool if beyond those 4 sounds, you could have other sounds trigger routines in the future. I teased this early on, talking about something you should consider before giving away or selling your Echoes. Well, there's an article I read in Wired magazine which references a study. The researchers purchased 86 devices off of eBay, and then they proceeded to break them down and to check them physically. This is what they said. An adversary with physical access to such devices, e.g. purchasing a used one, can retrieve sensitive information such as Wi-Fi credentials, the physical location of previous owners, and cyber physical devices, e.g. cameras, door locks. The researchers wrote in a research paper, we show that such information, including all previous passwords and tokens, remains on the device in the memory. So if someone does physically get it, it is possible to tap into that memory and retrieve that information. Now, 61% of people aren't even resetting their devices. There are 2 ways to reset your device. First would be going into the app, go to Devices. You can select Echo. I'm going to select my Echo 4. And I'll go into my settings, scroll down, and then select deregister. And now the device isn't tied to all those different accounts. The other option to reset a device is to hold down on the action button until you are given an alert that tells you the device is resetting.
Now in setup mode. Follow the instructions in your Alexa app.
So you can go that route and know that you're okay. So pick one of those options. Even if you do this and it's ready for setup, there still is physical memory in there that has information on it. So something to think about before you sell those devices. I usually stick with the giving it to family members instead. What is one of your favorite features or updates that you've been using? Let us know in the comments section. Now, if you made it this far, please give this video a thumbs up. It does help it get recommended to more people. Next, make sure to check out this video over here for some more great smart home information. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.